That's it. Hand it over. You're done with it. You're done with it. You don't get it anymore. If you have said this to a client, you don't get your license anymore. You gotta return it. You're overdue, expired. Pay the fine. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. I have heard this so many times, and I am not an angry person. I'm actually pretty kind, chill person. Shit happens, and we got to move on with our life. But if there's one thing that makes me very upset, and I've dedicated my life to, it's how can a counselor tell their client, "You're too broken, I can't help you"? How do you tell a client, your trauma is affecting me? I have had clients in my office who say, my last therapist said that my trauma was too much and was triggering them and that they couldn't help me. And so I'm afraid to share with you my trauma, Jesse, trauma counselor, because I'm worried that I'm going to burden you. What? That's the last thing. That's like going to the doctor and being like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you have to fix my leg and put it in a cast. It may make you a little tired. Sorry you have to lift up my leg." What the hell else am I here for then? I shouldn't have been a doctor. I shouldn't have been a counselor if I'm not going to be able to help someone work through their trauma and hold space for that. That's just absolutely insane to me. And so if you have ever been made to feel like a burden because you are sharing your trauma with a licensed professional, let me say that is not what this profession is about. That is not the way that you should be made to be felt. Now, let me add a caveat to that. There are many counselors who specialize in something else, right? Maybe they specialize in eating disorders. Maybe they specialize in substance use. Maybe they specialize in relationships, marriage, and family. And so they're just not specifically trained in complex trauma. And so they'll be like, "Hey, you really need some help. This doesn't happen to be my area of specialty, so let me refer you on to someone who does specialize in this area." That's wise, And so at least this counselor in this comment that I'm responding to, heated though I may be, at least they did refer on and help you out. But it seems like ultimately it was non-successful. And so I haven't shared this very much on the page, but I actually own an education company called Trauma Focused Hypnotherapy. We put out a weekly podcast, a weekly newsletter. We hold quarterly events and meetups to train therapists on how to actually address complex trauma in ways that work. We, as hypnotherapists, get the rejects and referrals from EMDR and ART therapy and CBT, trauma-informed therapy, because there are many individuals for whom it doesn't work. And then they come to me and they tell me, they're like, "Jesse, I'm so broken that none of these supposedly magical bullets that were supposed to cure my trauma can actually fix me." And so each subsequent counselor makes them feel more and more like they are permanently and unrescuably broken. And that is just not true. I've never met a client I wasn't able to help. But I do have advanced education in this, and I try and provide that education as much for free as I possibly can. We actually have a 50-hour certification course if somebody wants to do that. But please, maybe this is a moment to say, this is my passion. And it's stories like these that break my heart that have driven me to share this passion. We founded this company in 2017, and I haven't taken a paycheck from the education company since founding. I still haven't taken a paycheck because we operate it in a way to where we lose money based on my time, because it's that important that I make sure this information gets out to therapists who need it. So if you stayed to the end of the video, thanks. I'd love to hear your story in the comments down below, just to validate that you are worth seeing, you are worth hearing, and your story doesn't hurt me at all. And I'm glad that I can bring some space for you to share it when perhaps nobody else has.